Hey, we're on opposite sides.
We are on opposite. Oh, this feels weird. I knew something fell off and I didn't know what it was. It's that. It's okay. Everything's fine. Everything is fine. Ding. At least somebody will pick up on me and comment.
I know.
Okay. What it is, mi gente, it's your girl, Nino Montañez.
And it's your girl, Paula WJ.
And you're tuning into
Brown and Urban.
Life BC. Guys, we changed scenery.
We did. We did. Only temporary, but like also not. If this
Honestly, this is really cute.
it might be part of the lineup some weeks. It's my co-working space and nobody's here today because it's a holiday and it's open, but nobody's here because they're probably out at a beach as they should be. And we are in here. You all can't see, but there's exposed brick on the other side.
Oh, so cute.
Gina and I love exposed brick.
Mm-hmm.
This would be my living room. This would be my art room. I don't even do art, but I would take up art.
I mean, like photography. He was like, like it's a form of art. Like it,
The light is not great for it though.
no,
But the windows are cute.
no, it's a great chill space.
Maybe we'll send like a little.
It's giving, like when you would watch like Lifetime movies or like low budget movies, and some struggling artist always had this fire apartment
All the
exposed.
time.
I'm like, how are you struggling? I'm like, I know that cost $3,000 today, but back then it was probably like $650.
That's still expensive for them.
Back then, yeah. But it's just like, this is like my dream apartment. I'm not gonna hold you guys.
Yeah. Like imagine like you had like a bed. Like you just would wake up and then you just like stretch and see all these trees.
You know what I mean? That this is my serene. That's like so calm.
Very cutesy.
You know, we love repurposing old mills. That is like, I love that. That's what we're doing. When I'm knocking them down, we're repurposing them, and it's like it's super cute.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? We didn't talk over with my face. I'm trying to lead into the topic, and I'm like, we didn't discuss that.
We didn't.
We did. We were just going off vibes.
Well, I think. Obviously we talked about what's it called, reading Deuteronomy, and I watched Pastor Philip A. Mitchell's like Father's Day. It's still in the end time, the entry of the end times. So this part two. That is part two, and I watched it, and I don't know, when I had read Deuteronomy 1, I basically found that there were similitudes between what he was saying in terms of like the end times and like what happened in Deuteronomy 1. Deuteronomy 1 is just like a recap basically.
Deuteronomy 1 is mad funny. Remember, you not gonna make it to promised land, but because you didn't follow what I was saying to do because of whatever reason, using the kids as the like, oh, but what about blah blah blah? You're literally sending us into the hands of our enemy, and it's like, but why will God send you into the hands of the enemy as if He's not gonna equip you with what it is that you mean to defeat them?
My favorite part of Deuteronomy, low key, is when Moses.
And then he said, your kids are gonna get a promised land. You're not gonna get it because you didn't listen to the instructions.
No, my favorite part is when Moses literally goes like, and I'm not going to the promised land because you are. That's essentially what he said.
I gotta live here. You don't. It's not funny. It's actually like really sad. But like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like you had to listen to them whining and all these things and to like
one time. Well, you probably got that multiple times, but yeah, the way he got that.
He said, y'all go hand us over to the Amorites. And he's like, that's not what the Lord was saying at all, actually. This is what happens when we misinterpret.
Yeah. But that was the point that did you, I don't know, you didn't watch it, it's totally fine. But like what Pastor Philip A. Mitchell, he's mad serious, right? So he was just talking about like, he talked on Revelations, he talked about Daniel, like Thessalonians. Like, he basically talked about everything and broke down how to understand. Because, like, you can't really read the Bible in chronological order. You can, right?
You can, but
nobody should.
Because then there's, like,
they're connected legs. Because
yeah,
just because Psalms comes before Proverbs doesn't necessarily mean that in the order of the story that's, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, there are certain definitions and certain other chapters in different books, right? Like that, right? So that's what he was doing in that service. Yeah. But when I was reading Deuteronomy 1, he had those like, oh, it's X. Was like, I was like, oh snap! this is literally like imagine the promised land equaling like eternal life.
Yeah.
And like not everybody's gonna make it. And the amount of opportunities given over the course of time in order to get to the promised land, and how many times like people smack those like chances away. And then I think even the amount of like, to your earlier point, like God won't tell you to go somewhere if he's not gonna give you the tools. And like it talks about how like he explains through Moses, like if you do this, this will happen. Between chapters 1 and 2, like if you do this, this is gonna happen. This will happen. This. Yeah. So basically, it's a choice. Will you listen? Will you obey? And I think when we think about like fast forward to like the end times, which we are in, right? Will we obey all the signs? Will we know what the signs are? Because they had a Moses who was a mouthpiece of God. They got to see rivers turn red. They got to see, you know what I mean? And like, I'm not saying that we don't see it, but like, there's so many people, there's so much news, there's so many things, right?
And we have so much accessibility to like different information that like you could be rocking with somebody one day and then somebody puts together a think piece and you're like, wait. And then we're being swayed too easily. So that's something to be wary of. Like, if your discernment is not kicking in when you're listening to this one person, then you listen to this other person who's spewing like harmful rhetoric, and then it can easily alter your your thought process, your opinion of that person. You need to be wary of those things, because essentially the Antichrist is gonna coerce you into believing, right? And if you're too easily swayed, don't be a branch. You know what I'm saying? Like, be a root. Well, be the trunk. It's not swaying. The leaves be swaying. The leaves be falling away. The branches, you know,
well, technically he does call us to be the branch. But you know,
of each other. But like in terms of being rooted in the word and like no way. You know what I'm saying? See what I did there? The tree of life.
Like I don't know. Light bulbs have been going off all week in terms of just really just kind of making sure that, you know, because I feel like our last episode, it was like, I don't know. And then I think I sent you a TikTok of this girl, like, she was like crashing out on like being a new Christian. She was like,
yo, dog, I was like, wow, this is the most relatable thing on the internet, right?
I feel seen.
And I was like, because you're saying all the things that I want to say, all the things I used to say. I'm like, you're saying it in a way that I used to say it. Now I've cleaned up my language, but I still feel the same way.
And I'm like, I do feel that. But I also am like, but you know, after hearing sometimes I think we have to have sobering moments all the time.
Yeah.
To remind us like, oh snap, like we really don't have that much time to be playing around. And like, imagine being told something and then ignoring it. And you know, we'll get at somebody else. If we were like, yo, I need you to do this thing, whatever, that's plenty for me, and then they don't do it, we're like, I told you this, and X, Y, and Z, and blah, blah. And we're quick to get like an attitude if they don't go our way or something's not done the way we asked.
That's what we do, Lord.
And that, you know? And I'm like, oh, no, I can't ignore this. That was some good preaching for Pastor Bill's there, my show. Now I know. Can't even act like I don't.
Now I know, and it's unfortunate.
You know? It's unfortunate. It's actually really fortunate.
It's really fortunate, but like my flesh is like, I know. But the spirit is like, gotcha.
You know? But I kept thinking, I'm like, yo, y'all, if we think about like history, right? From a biblical sense, right?
Yeah.
They were in Eden, right? Adam and Eve, and they were like walking with God. Like they eyes on them. They had conversation. There was no distraction. Right? There's no lust in, right? They were super locked in. Years even after they were kicked out of Eden, his presence was still very much desert. You know? One of the punishments that we got is not only a shortened life span, obviously, but also like our connection with him had to go through because of how much in sin we live in. He can't live in sin. And so there was a reason why for all the sacrifices and all the things, and then obviously Jesus Christ coming in flesh, and you know, God in the flesh coming and sacrificing himself for us. But I'm sitting here going like, even probably back, like to have a mouthpiece of God, to know that guy, mouthpiece. We know that's the mouthpiece right there. And you fast forward to now, right? Like everybody has, we have a camera, we got mics, we got Bibles, right? We got all the tech, right? Okay, cool. In the end times, like your tribulations, his presence won't be here.
Yeah.
His presence won't be on the, you know, like when we go like, I don't know if I'm feeling him, he's literally still here.
Yeah.
But like,
There's going to be a time where he's like, rock out. And you're just like, wait, what? You'll go in there.
Don't leave me. I don't want to be here for that. I don't. Because it made me go like, and it's something that I've noticed and I've recognized for a while, but like, oh snap, he really won't be here. Like we don't know. We think we know. We don't know. It's like, yeah, like you can choose to live without God, right? But he's always still there knocking. What happens when somebody's not knocking?
It's not the season to mess around anymore. And I know people have been hearing it, you know, the turn of the new millennium and, you know, all of those things. Like I've been hearing like we're in the end times. And I think that we have to remember that, you know, what's a day to us is not the same for God. What's a year for us is not the same for God. He lives outside of time. So we think we have all this time, but we actually, in reality, we don't, right? And I think that, what did Pastor Mitchell, Pastor Pam, what did he said something like the clarion call?
Yeah.
And it's just like call to action. Like it's time to like re-hone in. I'm just not talking to y'all, talking to myself. Like I've been moving like, oh, I have all this time and I have God's grace is sufficient and it's never gonna run out and all those things. And I found myself getting super, super comfortable in it, all the like in my flesh being comfortable, but my spirit is like, this, don't do it. It's and like so, and I didn't recognize that that's what was happening. So like after last week's episode, we were talking about distractions. My spirit has been calling out to like, hey, get in the word, like dive into it, need it. You have to want it, right? And then my flesh is like, but Love Island is on though. He was like, can we disagree that Jeremiah Hood of Dominant said it? Just want to say that.
I don't want to take a season yet.
I need to watch it because it is fantastic. But I think it was Pastor Philip that was talking about like, you know, dedicating all this time. No, it wasn't. I was listening to someone speak about gluttony. And whenever we talk about gluttony, and the enemy is so strategic in how he warps the very word of God. So it distracts us from what it actually is saying, right? So when I say gluttony, you think about food. You're not thinking about the gluttonous time that you're spending in binge watching shows when you could be at least take an hour, at least that, to be in your word. But it's like, I've been talking about how I binge watched all these shows on Netflix. And when I tell you it was a subtle distraction, like I wasn't even, because I wasn't watching any shows. I typically don't even watch new shows. None of that was happening. But then recently, it was like, oh, what did I forget? I forget. Her attention. I didn't know. This was a little bit. You know what I mean? Correct. And I snatched it. But also, I can't even stress this enough. It's about proximity, right? So I'm being introduced to these shows by the people that I'm around because majority rules. So that's what we're going to do. Now I'm left with, well, now I have to know what happened. So I have to keep watching it. Even though normally I can just walk away from it and be like, not my cup of tea. But recently I've been in the tea and I said, it's enough. And I realized that every time I finish an episode of whatever show I'm watching, I was like, I could have done something more useful with that time. I could have made content. I could have edited something. I could be in my word, first and foremost, be in my word. And it's just not what's happening. I'm like, oh, you know what? I'll listen to the audio Bible on my way to work. It's even 5 minutes into work. Was not happening. It didn't happen. I'll probably be lost in my thoughts before I even press play on the audio Bible, right? And then it's like, oh, I'm at work. Oh, okay, I can just play something in the background. I can just play a sermon. And then it's like I'm doing myself a disservice and not actually giving it the attention, the word got the attention that it deserves. The way that I sit there and expect in my prayer life to be thinking that he's going to sit there, he's listening to me, and I'm not even giving you that in return. I'm not even showing you that I'm worthy of your presence right now based on how I'm treating you like a second rate person. Like I'm treating the Lord how I treat people in my actual life. Like I could see you, I'll see you when I see you. I'll talk to you when I talk to you. Oh, I might have wanted to send that text, but I didn't send that text, right? And that and because I'm allowing my flesh to consume me and be in this worldly space, it's now seeping, and actually it is like drowning out my prayer life. It is drowning out my intimate time with the Lord, and I'm literally treating him like a cualquiera, like a whatever, like he is, like he's gonna be there. And my flesh is like, okay, and my spirit is like, don't do it, please cut it out, right? And now it's just like listening to those little like nuanced voices where it's like, maybe not that. Now I realize I need to start listening to the still small voice that's like, maybe not those socks today. And then it's like, you think that you're doing too much. It doesn't require all of that. But if I can't even do that in the small things, how is the Lord going to trust me with the bigger things? Right? And then if I'm going to go into it equipped, I'm going to end up like the Israelites, because they decided, oh, we're not going to do what you said. Oh, wait, we are going to do what you said. And the Lord said this, and the time is up.
Because I think we all like to think like it's always going to be that big. Like it's good. Like at the end, like I think even when you look at the story of Exodus and you look at Numbers and you look at Deuteronomy, right? They were supposed to go scout out the promised land well before the 40 years. Did that. They came back and then scared the rest of the Israelites and basically said, they're too big, they're too numerous. God had already told you that was your land, and you got too scared. And that's something that like we would, like that's a normal thing. Like that's a normal conversation, right? Like God told you you're going to be something. He told you you're going to do something. And we're like, I don't know if I can do this or whatever, and blah, 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 and X, Y, and Z. Like that is not up to you. That's not up for you to decide. The decision has already been made. If a decision has already been made, just go up and do it. And if you don't know how to do it, you pray on it, and that's that. But like, I know that I'm saying this not because of like, I'm just so perfect and I know how to do that. But I want to get to that point where all I can do is just go like, all right, I got to go pray on it and have a conversation. Because one thing I don't want to do is on Judgment Day, and he goes like, so remember when I told you that I used you to go do this and you try to fight me on this? And because you didn't go do this, X amount of people didn't get saved because you didn't do what I told you to do?
Jesus.
Huh? They didn't get to go to the promised land because they said no. Huh?
Two small letters put together.
And God, and I think we have to remember, like, we keep putting faithful from like a human perspective. God's faithful is like, I said what I said. You see how like in the word, Moses didn't beg to get back into the promised land after God said no? He said,
well, yo, poor Moses, yo.
Poor Moses. But I'm sure he was able to still be redeemed on earth. You know what I mean? He may not have been able to go physically into the promised land, but I'm sure he was redeemed. But like
in eternity with the Lord.
But a promised land of eternity now, we don't got that time. Like, that's it. I don't want to hear a no.
And that's been replaying in my head all week. Like, am I gonna hear the words, "Well done, my good and faithful servant," or "Part from me, I don't know you.
I'm late, and there's no more too."
You don't get the redo. You don't get a redo, and it's like that has been playing my mind, and I know that it's the Lord reminding me.
Time's running out.
Time is running out. And because I had never really like been so focused on that before, right? My focus was like, just get it right with the Lord and you know, being in my word and, you know, trying to speak life where I can speak life and trying to live in a way that's Christ-like, right? And then my flesh has been pulling me towards the world. And I'm like, this is why. And I know that my breakthrough is coming. I know that it's on the other side of this because when I wasn't seeking the Lord and I was just in my solitude, that wasn't a problem for me. Being set apart from the world wasn't an issue for me because I don't really like to drink. I don't like to go out. I don't like to this, but I wasn't doing anything valuable with my time in my solitude. I was just either watching a movie, sleeping, reading a book, but I wasn't reading the book. You know what I mean? So now it's like, now that I'm seeking him, I realize that now my flesh is like, I want to be outside. And it's like, girl, all your 20s, you didn't want to be outside. Then the moment you want to get right with God, now you want to be outside. Dime. Doesn't make a lick of sense. So I know that I'm fighting this war, right, spiritually, and like it's taking me a while to see it, and how the enemy is distracting me is with time. He's distracting me with what I have, because now it's like, oh, I'm 32, and it's like, okay, well, what have I done up to now? Or, I know what the Lord has shown me. I know what the Lord is telling me to do. I know what people have prophesied, what the Lord has told other people to communicate to me about what I'm going to do for the kingdom. And I'm still like, we got time. And it's like, no, you don't. Yeah. I don't have all of that time that I think that I have. And it's time to shape up. And in shaping up, I think it's a second wave of separating myself from certain people. The first wave was done a couple of years ago, and now I guess subconsciously I was trying to recreate that, and all it's doing is distracting me yet again. So the Lord's like, we're gonna clean it up again. And it's a hard, it's tough, because it's like, you don't want to do this alone, but the Lord's like, the people that you're with, I didn't send you. I'm sending you the people that you need to be around.
You chose them.
Yeah,
I sent them.
I chose them. I picked them. The Lord was like, this not. And it took me a year to even see it, right? And I was like, okay, I wasted 365 days seeking a community that the Lord did not send for me, that I was like forcing to happen. And now it's like pulling back and being like, all right.
Because there's a difference between hearing what he said and then trusting that he'll do it.
Yeah.
And then trusting how he does it. Because the scary part for some of us, not all of us, but the scary part I know for myself is there have been things that I have seen. I've seen it. And before coming to Christ fully and wholly, if I had saw something like that, or if I had made a statement, it came like it was a thing. Yeah. Like, oh, I'm going to college. I'm putting myself through college. I did that. Oh, I'm doing this, and this. I did that. Yeah. Now fast forward to where we are now. I'm looking back and I'm like, that was a blessing and grace from God. But I was so quick to always believe if I said it, it will happen. But now I know God is bigger than what I say. I know that if he said it, it will happen. And yet somehow I'm still questioning it. Like,
yeah, that's crazy.
I've seen the dreams. I've seen the things. And then I start to go like, but was that me thinking that? Or, like, I feel like now I second guess things so much because I'm just like, I don't want it to force myself into thinking that what I'm saying is what he said. But there's like this, your spirit knows when God has said something. You may not know how to get to it, but there's this waiting season, I think, in every level of just wait. Just wait. If he said you're going to have community, you're going to have community. Don't go searching for it, right? Me too. Like, I'd be missing some of my old friends in a sense, and I'll just be like, I just hang out.
That's the thing. I don't miss none of my old friends. I'm like,
I miss my old friends in terms of, because I still see them, and they're my old friends. They just are my friends. But like, sometimes it is in those moments where it's like, oh, I see them all like getting to go out and do this thing. I don't miss it in terms of what I want to go bad, right? But I'm just like, I see it. You know what I mean? And in a want to be in community, I have this new community that God has blessed me with from like a church perspective. But sometimes it's so hard to get in. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, not everybody's free at the drop of a dime, do things or whatever. But you know who is free? The Lord. I mean, well, yes. Like, you know who is free? My worldly friends. Oh, them folks are always free. Always free for some fun time.
For a happy hour.
You know? And I'm like, Lord, like, and I know because you can relate, but you know how like your like community, your church friends, like you just know they're gonna tell you the truth, so you just don't really want to. Yeah, you don't really want to like tell a little.
At least that's why that's actually I don't think that is 100% the reason why I've othered myself. Like me, I also LOL churches from me is about 45-50 minutes. I live not a completely different life, but it's like two different people. It's like when I'm at church, it's like, oh hey, what's up, oh whatever. And then when I'm home, it's like, don't talk to me, don't look at me. I don't want to make no plans. I don't want this. I don't. And it's just like they cannot they can't this can't happen like and that's why it's so important to like get in community. And like there are times where I'm like I'll voice will follow and I'm like, girl, tell me I'm tripping, but let me just talk about it real quick. Like I need to get it out. And then she'll be like, okay, well cool, now we're gonna look at it this way. And I'm like, okay. But like right now, Paula's the only person that I trust to do that. Like I know Paula's gonna be like, oh haha, yes, that's so funny. And you can't live in that space no more, sis. It's all right. It's all right.
Here's the script.
And it doesn't bother me, but my brain is like, I only have one friend. Like that's and I'm like, just one? And I'm like, but that's okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, right? And like, I see her once a week, right? This is the most consistent relationship outside of my relationship that I have, right? And like, my sister lives at home, so like, I see her when I see her. But like, I think the world is telling me, you know, you want to have these big communities and you want to like do all these things, but the Lord's like, I only needed to send you one. Why is the one not sufficient enough? Like, why does it need to be more than, right? Because it's like, and now we're doing a podcast together. So like, okay, Lord, okay, I'm being a brat.
It's stewarding, right? Like, can we steward what he's given us?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, imagine this. You know that guy on Instagram who's like, imagine this. And he starts going,
Yo.
but like, imagine it, right? Like, you know the prophecies and the things that have been prophetically spoken over you. I know some of the things that I have been told and understand to a certain degree, right? And our not complaints, right? But in our complaint, yeah, I know. I was like, oh, I know. But in my thought process, right? I'm like, oh, well, like, why this or why that, and all this other stuff. I'm like, we be in the moment that he's prepping us for later. Cause like, imagine, I won't speak the things that you told me, but like, knowing what you know about what he has said to you through somebody about what your future could be that you've already like, I don't know. Like, how's this podcast not preparing you for that?
Facts. Yeah.
You know, like, for all the things that like I said, like, oh, I don't want to do, I don't know, I can't see it. How's this not preparing me for that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I think sometimes it's the one friend or like, because Nina's the most like, if anything, you're probably you've met my other church community, but you're probably the only person I would actually be like, girl, today work, it's crazy, or
right.
business, you know. Everybody else, I'm just like, it takes me time to warm up to people. I think a lot of people think because I have a big personality.
It's best 3 years. It's fine.
Yeah. No, but seriously, like, I got my trust issues.
Like that I felt it was a me thing, it was a her thing. And then the Lord was like, no, I'm gonna keep putting you guys together
for no
until your stubbornness like falls off of you, because I have something for you guys to do. Like dancing, orbiting each other for 3 years.
For no reason. If you really actively, I mean, granted, Shanice, but like,
yeah.
But like actively though,
yeah,
it made no sense.
Now we see each other when we see her.
I know.
It's all love bubbles. Still love you.
But I just thought, I'm just sitting here going like, you're preparing me for something. And I'm just sitting here going like, where? And
I'm like, no, my flesh is running from it. I know I'll be prepared for something. Because no BS, guys. Paula said yesterday, yo, it's been on my spirit, read Deuteronomy 1. And I was like, oh, okay. Then work picked up and I completely forgot. Went to the conference last night, cried, and then was like, oh, I gotta read Deuteronomy 1. And then got here, Paula was behind, which is totally fine. So I was early, so I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm like, oh, let me read Deuteronomy 1. Because I was going to start scrolling on TikTok. I was going to start making content. And then I was like, no, let me start to get prepared for the conversation we're going to go into. I didn't even know this was the conversation we were going to have. So I started to read it. And I was playing it while I was sitting in my car. And then I was like, wait, what? So then I had to pick up my book. And I said, okay. Oh, wait, what? I said, nah, let me get my notebook. Now I'm taking notes, right? And I'm like, yo, that's crazy. Then now, because to the newbie that's watching this, right? I see you, I am you, I was you, I'm still you, right? I read this 15, 20 minutes before we pressed record. But my spirit was so depleted that it absorbed it immediately. And now it sounded, first half of the show, it sounded like I was regurgitating it, right? Because my spirit wanted it, right? So when you have that, like, you're trying to get into that. If Father did not summon to read Deuteronomy 1, and I've read Deuteronomy, and it didn't stick. Today it stuck, and there was a reason why it stuck, right? Because ultimately, to go off of Pastor Philip Anthony Mitchell and what we're talking about now, like it's all starting to tie together the way that only the Bible can. Yeah, like from Genesis to Revelation, everything is intertwined, and to the point of just the one. Yeah, just the one. Paula was the one that said, hey, read First Timothy. Oh, okay, wow, that was a slap in the face 2 weeks ago. I said, okay, lit. Read Deuteronomy 1. Oh, okay. And like now we're in this conversation. We was like, oh, it's gonna be a quick episode. And now we're in Deuteronomy 1. Like and making the comparisons and having the revelations. And it's like,
and I want
you don't think this isn't preparing? Because I have to go. The words were coming out of my mouth, and I was like, you read this 15 minutes ago. How, like, it's just coming out of me. So if I don't think that what we're doing right now is not preparing me for what the Lord is calling me to do, I've lost my ever mind.
And like, I want to just be very clear that every single time I have to tell you to like read something because I've read it, that scares me. Like, but do it scared. Like, you know what I mean? Because like, there's like my mind moves like Roadrunner. Like,
It's like playing ping pong with my brain.
very fast. So I'll think it. I'll be like, oh yeah, I read this. I should tell Nina to read this because it was actually really cool. And then I'll be like, zoom, something else.
Yeah.
But if it comes back, oh, I know that's the Lord.
Yeah.
Like, no. You need to tell her this. And then I know it's the Lord because immediately I don't want to do it. Immediately,
I'm like, want to do it.
I'm like, I feel uncomfortable. And then if you listen to that voice though, it literally I try to speed past like the beginning.
And then you're like, hey girl, so I was reading Deuteronomy 1. You should probably read it. And what time do you want to meet for? I have to play it back. And you know what's crazy? My phone didn't transcribe what you were saying. Because I was like, what did she tell me to read? I had to play back. I played back the whole message. So I was like, I don't even know where that fell in it. And like, it wouldn't transcribe because normally I'll just like click on my, oh, she said, first tip, oh, come back. I'm going to go. My phone was like, nah, my phone's not rocking with audio note like this one's right now. But listen, if y'all take nothing else, the Lord is preparing you for what is to come. We cannot continue to ask for things when we haven't built the stamina, the consistency, the discipline to be able to maintain the things that He is calling us to. I'm on a race, but I ain't doing nothing with the money that I got right now. You understand? I'm not being faithful with the money I got right now. So I let the Lord not gonna give me more money because He's like, for what? You have enough for what you need. If I give you anything more, you're gonna act a fool. And that's a hard pill to swallow, especially when like, as a working professional, you want to, advance and you want to make more money, right? That's the goal. But if it's not happening, you need to take a step back and check yourself, and then I found myself in this, but this person and that person. And then Paula said, we didn't win. Just like that. And I'm just going to read Deuteronomy 1:37. Because of you, the Lord became angry with me and said, you shall not enter either. So this is Moses saying, y'all, because of y'all, I cannot enter the promised land. But what happens when the Lord is asking you to be kind and encourage the person who will? Even though you did all of the work.
That's verse 38. But Joshua, the son of Nun, which standeth before thee, he shall go in thither. Encourage him, for he shall cause Israel to inherit it.
You talk about being humble. You talk about being humbled. Moses had to listen to the Israelites for 40 years. Talk about we were better off in Egypt. We were better off in Egypt. Okay. And then to be on the cusp of the promised land and for him to have to look back and be like, because of y'all, I'm not gonna inherit it. But then for the Lord to say, Joshua is so. And I need you to continue to show him and reassure him and encourage him for when he does.
And let's take this teaching just slightly a little bit further, because it requires you to have read the actual stories between Exodus and Deuteronomy, which is, yes, technically the Israelites did cause him not to go, but it was his anger that was not okayed by God, that he allowed to go forth out of him against the Israelites. Now, granted, was it for a reason? Absolutely. They were acting a fool.
Yeah.
But it was his anger as a leader and as the mouthpiece of God that got him in this situation. So think of that point earlier of me going like, and he didn't even ask God, well, why? Can I? He understood.
Yeah.
And so the least that he could do is if God said, but Joshua is going to be the next, so train him up. Yes. Because you know what? I did wrong. And that's accountability. That's accountability for the people. Okay?
That's a big word for Elmo.
Vinegar. That's a big word to Elmo.
Yo, that Elmo's mad funny. Anyways.
Rocco. Hey, Rocco. Anyways, but like that teaching though it's important because I do understand that it is not an easy path. But I think sometimes we get stuck in whether or not to be accountable, to not be accountable, always be accountable, right? I think sometimes we just kind of have to come to God and just say, I messed up.
And repent.
And understand that because he is a just God, as much as he's a faithful God to his word. So if he said that this is going to happen, then it will happen. And if he says, this is also the result of your disobedience, take that disobedience on the chin because you caused the disobedience. Take it on the chin, do it, and listen to his word for the next thing.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I'm saying this because it's something that I have to remind myself that everything that has happened has not just happened to me, it happened because of me. And that's not for everybody, right? There are certain situations that the enemy was orchestrating because of what he knew your future was going to be. So don't think that that goes for everybody. That is not for everybody. But for some of us, it is because of you.
Yep.
You can't choose to smack somebody in the face. And this is just a metaphor. But like, you can't choose to smack somebody in the face and then be confused why you're in jail.
We're not kids anymore. We have real consequences.
This is real consequences. You can't expect to have $8,000, $10,000, $20,000, $50,000, X $1,000 saved up if you spending money on food and going out all the time.
Yeah, pull up that DoorDash busty for the year.
Yeah, let's stop because my Uber Eats is crazy. But you know what I mean? But like, I understand that, right? Like, I understand that I can't. That's not gonna be. How do you do that? Sacrifice. If Jesus had to sacrifice himself, literally, physical body, why go?
Yeah, and I think right now there's just so many different things that the Lord is teaching me at one time that it's like it's actually really overwhelming, and I don't know where to.
Like that movie, Everything at Once.
Yo, I don't know like how to compartmentalize and Straw. When all the you talking about Straw?
The movie, Everything, all that.
Oh, that's actually a movie. I was thinking about Straw, man. Yo, literally I with mad things at once in one day. I said that's we've been mad at Straw too. But I think that the Lord he's showing me like so much of myself, and I didn't even realize that like I pray the prayer consistently of like, Lord, reveal the parts of my heart. Show me. I don't like me right now because I'm like, this kind of sucks. Like I kind of suck as a person. Like I'm good to other people, right? But like in terms of like how I am making sure that I am showing up for myself because I got so wrapped up in, if I don't want to do that, I don't have to do that. If I want to take a nap, I'm going to take a nap. And it's like the words like, where's the discipline in that? You know, where like, how can I cultivate you? How can we build consistency and discipline when you believe that because you worked your 40 hours, your work week is done? No, there's still work to be done. It it doesn't, you don't have to punch in for it. You're not getting paid for it, right? And there's just so many different things that the Lord is showing me that I did till this very moment. I didn't even realize that He is answering the prayer that I prayed. Lord, show me. And it is a hard pill to swallow. Like, yes, I will buy a meal for a homeless man. I'm not saying I'm a crappy person in that way. Like, she's seen it, and I will never record it and tell you guys because I don't need to boast about it. It's fine. There are some people who that's their ministry, and that's what's up. I love that for you. That's not mine. And like, I will calmly buy a homeless man a meal. I will calmly, help somebody that's moving. I will do all those things, but like, it's showing up for servitude to other people. But then it's like me and my time with the Lord is where He's showing me like, we need you to lock in. Like, you need to lock in, right? I think that to circle back to this, to, Moses in the story and, taking accountability and him understanding that, he played a part in him not making it to the promised land. It's like, let that be a reminder that as faithful as you can be for all of these years, the Lord is still taking into account the little things, the in-between things, and that they matter at the end. And that, reading that today, I was like, oh, yeah, I haven't been putting my best foot forward in terms of that. Because if that was solely right now today, I don't know that the Lord would tell me I would make it. And that's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah. I think the only revelation I got is when you talked about like, you could be years in your faithfulness and still it comes into account. The one thing that came up was that he was in his calling. Oh my God, bro. He was in his calling, and the reason when you are in your calling, you are called to a higher standard than what you were before. It didn't matter beforehand if Moses had got mad. We know Moses got mad. He was out here murking people, right? Because he saw somebody lash out at one of his brethren, right? So we know he would risk it all. And did, because he had to go on the run to me. So like, we know he would risk it all. So I just wanted to be clear that what he got away with before and God still used him, he couldn't get away with again. You could get angry before you were in your calling. You cannot get like that when you're in your calling. And so all this preparation that is happening is so that God is telling us a pruning. It's a pruning because when you're at a certain stage, the things you did in the past, you cannot do here. And whatever you're going to do here, that next level, you can't do that no more. And and we may think it's unfair. We may think that it's hard. We may think that like, well, why? There's a lot of love that comes with that, because imagine thinking that whatever level you're at is the only thing that you can ever reach. And that's capping God, because we are fearfully and wonderfully made in his image. And if he is so great, and we know he's great, and is the creator of all things, and he's telling you, no, you can do this. How dare you?
How dare you, sir?
Tell us the scripture.
No, because I'm literally just like, I'm looking for something, because I'm like, I know here it says something about reminding. Like, let you remind you. No, let's get down. That's what it was. That's what it says. That's what it is. The main message of Deuteronomy is to address the Israelites and reminding them to be faithful to God as they prepare to enter the promised land, right? And that is the reminder, that just that being faithful. And to Paula's point, like, once you are operating in your calling, you need to let go of the way you would react. And we always joke like, you feel, but the word says, you know what I mean? But that speaks volumes, because I have literally been acting out of emotion. And up until maybe 2 weeks ago is when I started to check myself, like, does this require all of this energy right now? It doesn't. We need to regulate. And being that self-aware, and because self is literally the destruction of you. The way that society is feeding you self-love, self-help, self-this, self-that. You cannot do it on your own strength. Like, when are we going to finally just be like, yo, I cannot do it? How many testimonies do we have to hear of people that are like, I was at my wit's end and I could no longer do it on my own strength?
and let God use somebody to tell you something, and you just like, oh, okay, I heard it, and then don't do nothing.
Yo,
I don't want to hear not a near,
not a nan.
not a,
Not
I
a
don't want to
stating.
hear nothing about how my life is in a mess. He told you. He told you.
ASMR version.
He told you.
He told you, he taught you, he led you, he kept you, he loved you, he.
You know how many times you've been telling me to rest? I'm like, yeah, I hear that. I hear that. I hear that.
No, at this point, it's the ending telling me to rest.
Yeah.
Now it needs to flip.
Yeah, minus, yeah. Yeah. Because I'm sitting here, I'm snapping at people. Literally, this is the last thing I'll say. My life coach was like, she was like, I was telling her everything. She's like, oh, it sounds like you're burnt out. And I was like, that's the B word. We don't sing that word. It's an ugly word. We don't sing that word. And she said it, and I was like, but what's crazy is people have been telling me you need to rest.
I give some plates. You gonna tape out your plate to rest.
Why are you coming at me like that?
I just been like, I just, hey, you Holy Spirit. So you needed a reminder. Really, reminder. With all of that being said, mi gente, I'm Mina Montañez.
And I'm Paula WJ.
Stay blessed.
See ya.